Radio Raheem here in Brooklyn with Robert and Mikey Garcia, a family affair taking place at the Barclays Center on Saturday night. You know, I've dealt with both of you guys for quite a few years now, especially you, Robert, in between the time that you took off during boxing. First, let me take you guys back to that downtime when you knew that you had a fighter who had the potential to dominate the sport, could one day be at the top of the pound-for-pound list, but was inactive. How did you keep him mentally and physically still in the boxing game, knowing that there wasn't a fight imminent? And how did you maintain your passion for the sport? It takes so much to be engaged in boxing where there may not be a reward or a payoff anytime soon. I'll start with you, Robert.
Well, look, when Mikey got that time off, and it was 2.5 years, Mikey was still very young. He's still very young after those 2.5 years off. Came back strong. We knew Mikey had the skills, the power to come back strong. We supported him. We supported his decision and went through it. It took a little bit longer than we expected, but he was always in the gym, always positive, always helping other guys prepare for their fights, and the results were shown when he came back. He didn't show much of a rust, and now he's a world champion fighting against Adrian Broner.
You spoke about the passion and how to keep that. Well, it actually helped ignite it again, because at that time I needed a break. I was kind of getting tired of getting a little bored, and the time off allowed me to clear my head, go out, enjoy myself, and take vacation, take time off from boxing. I was always in the gym, but never having to make weight, never having to watch the diet. So that allowed me to enjoy myself. And now that I'm back, I'm hungry. I'm back. I'm motivated. That fire is once again there.
While you were coming up early in the sport, during your layoff, you saw guys like Marcos Maidana make a lot of noise, have a lot of success. You saw Brandon Rios get the Pacquiao fight, have a lot of success, fight Alvarado, the kind of star power that brought. And then also, you're coming from a lineage of boxing. You've seen your brother, you've seen your uncle, you've seen Garcia succeed in the past. First of all, which had the most influence on you? Seeing other fighters succeed, or what came through your bloodline and as you come up watching your siblings and whatnot succeed themselves?
Look, I've been raised in a boxing family. Both my older brothers fighters, my dad as a trainer, and just grew up in the gym. So it's nothing new to me. It's just part of the lifestyle for our family, and I did see and experience other fighters having success in my brother's gym. You mentioned Marcos, and he's had other fighters become world champions, and it was very nice to see that. I actually get more emotional and happier to see them win their fights than when I'm in the ring. When I'm fighting, it's just like another day, because I grew up in boxing so much, and seeing it every day, that it's not anything new, it's not as special. But during the time off, now that allowed me to really appreciate it more and appreciate the victories more, because it does mean it could be taken away at any point. And so I really appreciate that, and in a way that has, like I said, started that fire again and has motivated me more.
Mikey talked about what's special to him, and obviously his family is such. It's the same for you. You're so close with Brandon Rios at a time. I saw how close you were with Maidana. You were personally invested with your fighters. But what's the difference between the kind of investment you have with a guy who comes to you to learn boxing and a guy you grew up with, a guy who is your sibling in blood, who is so good at your passion?
Look, it is a difference when you have a Brandon Rios or a Marcos Maidana who we need to be very hard on, so they could get better and learn, or like Brandon Rios who doesn't like to listen. You have to be pushing him. With Mike, it's just so much easier. He makes things so easy for us in the gym. There's times where we get the minute break and we got nothing to tell him, because he already knows what he's doing. And there's been occasions where I tell him, what I want him to work on, and he tells me that's exactly what was already going through my mind. So it's like Mikey just has that talent, and it's something in him that it's hard to explain, and it's hard to see other fighters with that. We got to work with guys that are having a hard time getting up to go run, or guys that are having a hard time making weight, or just learning boxing skills. With Mikey, everything's just so easy. Even though he's my brother, I've had more trouble. I get more nervous when a Maidana or a Brandon or any of my other younger fighters are fighting than with Mikey.
Everybody has investment in their legacy. The Garcia name means something in boxing. Is it important to you to be the one that carries that legacy forward? And do you see yourself as the best Garcia in boxing so far?
I don't see it like it's up to me to carry the name and carry the legacy. I just want to add, to that legacy. I want to add my own chapter, my own, career. But it is important. I do feel that, the fans know the family well, know the name through my brother, through my dad, and now through me. And I'm very happy with the way my career has been shaping up and the way things are going for me. I know I'm already leaving a nice mark in boxing, and it's my dad. I accomplishing my dad's dreams. Of having a fighter, in 3 division champion. That WBC title for the last fight was a gift to my dad because he always wanted that title, and I was able to give that to him. So that accomplishment there means a lot to me.
One of the most common ways that fighters get on that pound for pound list and get the accolades is to take big challenges. You're moving up to 140 pounds. You're facing a guy who is excellent at that weight. He is undefeated at that weight. Why push yourself in a challenge like this, and what is it important to you about continuing fight after fight to take the biggest and toughest challenge available?
That's what why I came back, because I wanted to take the bigger challenges. I wanted to take the bigger fights, the fights that fans are going to remember, the fights that the fans want to see, and the ones that are going to give me that credit, and the ones that are going to leave that impression for legacy. I mean, I'm not here to take easy fights. I'm not here, picking and choosing easy opponents. I could have taken a title defense, fairly easier fight, but I chose not to. I took on a bigger challenge in Adrian Broner because I think that makes for a much better performance, much better fight for the fans, and that will be a step closer to cementing my own legacy in boxing.
You know the business of boxing. We've seen some of the greatest at the end of their career, by the time they're done, who have picked and chosen their opponents and taken a very careful path because there's a business side to this thing. Longevity means something, looking good means something, and it's not necessary to fight the best guy every time out and change weight divisions to go chase those opponents. Do you have to have a talk with Mikey about, hey, this might be better for business? I know you want to fight the toughest guy, but maybe we can get some money fighting this guy that's not as big a challenge and wait on that big fight? Or do you even think that way?
No, look, I know the way Mikey thinks and the way Mikey wants his career to be remembered, so we got to support him in that decision. There was, like he said, for this fight in July, they already had a date, a place set up in Southern California where it would have been an awesome night of boxing, but there was a few opponents that they mentioned that were actually former world champions and decent names, but Mikey just said it would mean nothing for him. He wants to fight the best, wants to beat the best, and wants to be considered the best. There is other fighters that wait 5-6 years to fight that one fight that everybody wants to see. There's fighters that wait for that guy to get beat to be able to fight him after they get beat. Mikey's not like that. Mikey wants to fight the best, and after this fight, we're not looking past Broner because he's in great shape and he's a hell of a fighter. But if everything goes well, I know Mikey's not gonna go back and pick easy opponents. From now on, it's gonna be nothing but real challenges.
Boxing's such a mental game. Any fighter will tell you they feel like it's 80-90% mental and the rest is physical. Adrian Broner plays a tough mental game. There's been a lot of back and forth during the build-up to this fight. You're known as a cool customer. Part of the way people see you is just like you're very technically proficient. You go in there, it's all business, and you go home with the victory. Has this build-up been a little different for you than most?
It's the same thing for me, man. You see me right now, like just chilling, hanging out. He can talk, he can be, animated and energetic, because maybe that's what he needs to psych himself up. I don't need none of that. I'm chill. I know what I got to do on Saturday night. I know what I'm capable of doing. I'm confident in my abilities, and Saturday night's just going to be another night for me to get in the ring, do my job, and then go home happy.
See, now I asked that because we saw something from you in the past week that I thought was very unusual. I know Adrian gets under people's skin and whatnot. I'm wondering if he got under your skin. You put an Instagram post on there that people don't understand. I'm not gonna preface it with any indictments. I want you to explain what was meant by you posting the mouse and the monkey, and people took that to say that you're putting yourself in the position of the mouse and you're calling Bronner a monkey.
You can interpret that however you feel. It's Mickey Mouse and Donkey Kong. I mean, that's all it is. You see it however you feel. You want to see it.
But how do you see it? When you put it up there, what were you thinking?
It's Mickey Mouse and Donkey Kong, bro. I grew up watching, playing video games, playing Donkey Kong Country, Diddy Kong Racing. It's Donkey Kong. It's got nothing to do with some of the comments people are saying it's something racial or racist. If you feel it's that way, I mean that's your deal. That's your problem there. I didn't mean anything racial, but I still don't mean anything, and I don't think it's any racial thing. It's just a funny picture between Mickey Mouse and Donkey Kong.
When you see him up there saying he's gonna beat your ass, he's gonna stop you. Bronner has colorful language. He said things that people can take as racist. A lot of people took what you said as racist. Is this a personal fight for you at this point? Like, is there some genuine animosity there? Or are you guys, is it all good?
Look, I spent a lot of time yesterday with him at ESPN Studios, and he never brought up the post, the picture. He never brought up any negative thing to say. He never said anything derogatory or racial, anything like that. So this is the first time that I hear him open his mouth a little bit more here during the press conference. But that's actually what I want to hear, because that shows me he's ready. He's ready to get in the ring. He's ready to put on a great fight. He's ready to win, which is gonna bring out the best out of me, And I think that's what the fans also want to see. They want to see a good fight. Nobody wants to see a beat up, old, faded Adrian Bronner. I don't want to have a victory against that Adrian Bronner. That takes all the credit away. I want the best Adrian Bronner.
There is another fight going on Saturday night in that ring, and it's in the corners between the rounds. You're an established, successful trainer. So is Mike Stafford. You guys have very different styles, and I'd say kind of different clients as well. Your fighters even have different attitudes. When you look at the matchup that you have on Saturday night, how do you contrast your style of preparing a fighter and strategy against Mike Stafford? And what do you guys bring to the table in that respect?
Well, look, he's a great trainer. I wasn't aware of all the, the Olympians and champions that he's had. I know he's Adrian Bronner's trainer. That's all. That's pretty much all I know. But we've been involved against each other in a few fights, and I know he's worked with other fighters in the past that go against me. But one thing I gotta say is I think that team has never beat me. I don't think they even have a win against me, and I don't think they will after Saturday night.
Bronner brought up Maidana. Obviously, you guys have faced Bronner before. You had Maidana in your corner at that point. Does that fight inform you about how to approach this fight? And strategically, what do you see the holes or the weaknesses that Mikey could expose? If they be physical, mental approach, how do you see that fight breaking down from a strategic?
Just like he said, the fight actually doesn't really, Maidana's fight against Bronner doesn't give me the way to beat Maidana, because Mikey's a total different. I mean, the way to beat Bronner, because Mikey's just a total different fighter. Bronner said, it was Maidana. Mikey's nowhere near Maidana. Well, it's the other way around, man. Let's be real.
Respect to Marcos, but I'm a whole better fighter than Marcos, and Adrian Broner's gonna find out Saturday night why I'm still undefeated.
With Mikey, and it happens in the gym, it happens in fights, and it happens wherever Mikey's at, wherever people see Mikey. People see Mikey on the outside, and they think he's basic, doesn't do much or doesn't have much, but once they're inside the ring against Mikey, they find out the truth. Maidana is a hell of a fighter. My champion gave me up to date right now the best victory I've had as a boxing trainer against Broner, and I'm always gonna be grateful and honored to say I was part of Maidana's success and big fights, but like Mikey said, with all disrespect, but Maidana's nowhere near what Mikey is when it comes to skills, even the power, and I trained both of them. Guys that have sparred both of them can tell you, Mikey hits a lot harder than Maidana.
What's your approach to the sport? Are you the kind of fighter that you come in the gym, just do everything your trainer says, put all 110% effort, and then go home and let that wash away? Or do you watch tape? Do you study Broner? Or you watch his other fights and look for strategy on your own, look for holes?
I do whatever my dad and my brother tell me to do. Sometimes they ask me what I want to do. I'm like, just whatever you guys want me to do in the ring. Whatever you guys want me to do in sparring or in the heavy bag or however many rounds you guys ask. I'm just there to do my job. I don't watch a whole lot of film. My dad and Robert watch a little bit more, and they come up with a strategy or game plan, A, B, C, game plans. But I just do my job. I listen to them. And if I see adjustments that I need to make during the fight, I make them without having to wait for my dad or my brother. And a lot of times, like my brother said, we come into the minute break, and there's not a whole lot for them to say because they know I'm taking care of business already, or they saw the adjustment in between the round. They already saw the adjustment being made, so they don't have to remind me. I'm just there to take care of business. I know what I got to do. Studying and analyzing my fight, my opponent, my fight, every round, every second, and I just do my job.
140 pounds is like a clearinghouse for fighters that become superstars. Pacquiao, Mayweather. People were wondering, would you fight Lomachenko, or maybe are you on your way to Crawford? Are you just going to 140 to face Broner, or is this now where you intend to campaign and kind of make your career right now?
We took the fight with Adrian Broner at 140 because at 135, nothing else made sense at the moment. The fights that we wanted were unavailable. The title unification matches were unavailable, and this made more sense to have a high-profile fight with Adrian Broner. And I'm still planning on coming down to lightweight for a unification after this. And I also got to be open to options. I got to be available. I got to be flexible. The way boxing is, you just never have a guaranteed fight. And I'm also not going to sit around waiting or chasing anybody. So if at 135, the options are very limited, but there's better options at 140 or maybe possibly even 147. I got to be able to make those jumps. And I'm here to take big fights, big challenges, and after Saturday night, I think those options are going to be great for me.
Lastly, guys, there was a big, hey, who's Mikey going to sign with? You were being courted by Mayweather Promotions for a while. Obviously, it just separated with Top Rank. Golden Boy won you. Is it better for you to not be with anyone? Is that now the decision that you made? A non-decision is a decision in itself. Or are you still looking for a promoter to sign with? Do you feel like that could happen soon?
Look, I'm taking control of my career, and everything's going well right now. We're building relationships with different people, the network especially, very good relationship with Showtime, but I'm still open to discuss anything with any promoter. A few months back, we sat with Oscar, with Golden Boy. This was back in March, I think, or April. So, I'm still available, but if it doesn't make sense or it doesn't really excite me, then I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing right now and work on a fight-by-fight with different promoters, different opponents, and that gives me flexibility.
And lastly for you, Robert, what's the path as a trainer, knowing these fights, knowing how fighters go, If you could select on your own, what's the path that Mikey would take? You come back down, like you said, to lightweight and unify that thing. You chase Crawford, get that fight. What for his skill set? What's best for Mikey?
Well, look, Mikey just said, after Saturday, if everything goes well, we beat Broner. Mikey's not going to be in the position of chasing anybody.
Radio Raheem here with Robert and Mikey Garcia.